Isn't Graham Hancock's theory on the pyramids that they were pointing to the stars, to specific stars?
Oh yeah, yeah, and that they, like the pyramids line up with like, I don't know the details,
Yeah.
but there's like these eerie coincidences between the location and the alignment of the Egyptian pyramids and the Aztec ruins pyramids, that they kind of are pointing to the same stuff. And then I don't know the name. There's so a big part of his theory is I won't even try and guess the name, but I think it's north of like Turkey.
Okay.
And it was this like statue or whatever that's buried in the ground. And kind of like those heads of Easter Island, you know what I'm talking about? So I'm pretty sure that the heads are sticking out, but there's bodies in the ground, right? Do I have that right?
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Whatever it is, it's something like for ages they thought this thing in Turkey was a rock, and then they started digging. And they're like, actually, this is an entire statue that's like buried in the ground. And I forgot the name. That sucks because I listen to a lot of Graham Hancock, but it's so much information that like the details go out the window.
Yeah. It's a huge download.
But when they discovered it, it's like this figure that has like this satchel on his shoulder. And then they realized like, oh, we've seen this guy before. And they like found all these other places all around the world that have like this same dude kind of like if 10 different artists painted the same person, like they're not all going to be the same, but they're kind of gonna. And that's what it is. It's not the exact same statue, but it's the same kind of look. And they all have this bag and whatever.
Okay.
And they're like, I think he's pointing to the sky or something like that, but it's aimed at a certain region. And no matter where these statues are found in the world, they're pointing to the same spot in the sky. And I'm going to have a huge jump in like information here because I can't make the connection right now, but there's all this other evidence that points to, and it has to do with like the ending of the Mayan calendar and all this stuff that, there is a, like debris, like comet debris that is in orbit around the sun that we can't really see right now, but that it's on a collision course with Earth. And that like 2,000, 3,000 years ago, whenever the Mayans and all that it's this asteroid field that the Earth goes through every couple thousand years. And that it's just completely made up of planet killing asteroids. And that like, that's Graham Hancock's whole theory, is that there was civilization at least once before us that was just as advanced, and it was taken out by an asteroid, and that they left as much evidence as they could that they thought would last, another 1,000 years for for life to build back up again. Enough evidence for them to be like, hey, watch out for that shit. And this dude is pointing at the sky. So that's like his whole,
that's belief. Wild.
Yeah. And I just know it. I just know it from him. I've never read any of this stuff. I don't, it could all be bullshit. And like, he's just selling books talking about it. I don't know. So don't think like I'm, I totally buy into that, but I don't know. I mean,
there's something to the, like you said, the people digesting these hallucinogens and like that level of thought, like that deep of thought.
Yeah.
And like figuring out your own answers, and then you go and kind of figure out how to prove it after that.
Well, and thinking forward enough to be like, I'm going to die, but I need to warn other people, you know, or whatever. Like, that's a pretty psychedelic counterculture way of thinking, honestly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if NASA came out and was like, hey, there's an asteroid that's going to kill most of us, like, I don't know what to fucking do. Like, I'd say our world is so fucked up right now. Like, we're not going to be like, we need to build a statue to warn the next evolution of humans. You know, like, I don't see that happening, you know, like
you don't see people coming together for that.
Yeah, no, I say it's more possible that people will be like, are we going to finish the wall down south first? You know, like, I mean, so yeah, like I don't know. At the very least, whether or not there was an asteroid, whether or not there was a more advanced, technologically advanced civilization before us, I think from the evidence of that kind of stuff and how there's these weird, I mean, even if they're just synchronicities or whatever, there's these weird like things that are the same on completely different continents. Yeah. I think it's at least safe to say that previous civilizations were much more psychedelic than we are now.
Yeah.
You know, just because we have a million yahoos on YouTube saying, all right, I took 5 dried grams and this is what's happening, that doesn't mean we're more psychedelic than the people that were making statues to warn future civilizations of asteroids that are coming thousands of years from now. You know, like,
that's thinking so beyond.
Right, exactly. You know, and it could be, you know, maybe it's because they didn't have screens or whatever. I don't know. They weren't distracted and like,
yeah.
They didn't have, you know, re-election campaigns, and
Joe Rogan wasn't around.
Yeah.
Donald Trump wasn't there.
No reality TV. No,
yeah.
No memes. I don't know. Well, maybe they had memes. I think that's probably human
hieroglyphic memes.
Yeah. Like, that'd be funny if they like discovered, you know, that they were like, oh, this god Osiris is in all of these writings, you know, he was the main god, and like it turns out that was just a meme. Like, they were like, no, that's the Osiris guy. He's funny as fuck. You know, like